Tide Talk with Webb is back. Man, doing A-Day highlights and whatnots. A-Day went pretty well. Like I said, it was nice weather. I was not there because I'm in Montana, but everything I saw was pretty nice. The new A-Day environment, because it's not really a ones and twos, red, crimson versus white team, the way it has been in the past. Attendance was not great. It was probably 8,000 to maybe 14,000 max. But you have to remember, everybody's dealing with this because what we saw happen last year, the kids that were maybe second-tier team guys that did amazing got picked off by other teams that had money, and kids left. So you're having to shift the roster again. So, yeah, you don't want to tip your hat. You don't want people coming in there and poaching guys. And it still may happen, but not to the degree probably happened last year. And it's kind of the world we live in, the NIL world we live in. Not a big fan of NIL because of some of these issues. I do think that the NIL needs to cap it. You have 1 2-week period after the national championship game. Then it's closed for a full year. 2 NIL periods I think is ridiculous. It really stinks for every single team. And it's not just Alabama. It's not just, it's every single team. It could be Texas. It could be Ohio State. Everybody is having to deal with it. That's why you're not seeing the old formats that we're used to the last forever period of time. A-Day was pretty good. Ty Simpson clearly was probably the best QB on the roster. He didn't do anything that was absolutely phenomenal or like, wow. And he didn't clearly separate himself in a wide gap all by himself, but he was the most consistent. He definitely was head and shoulders above Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. Austin Mack, when he got in his first game action, threw 2 picks. Keelan Russell, when he got in his first 11-on-11 situation, he threw a pick. They're clearly not ready for prime time. It's definitely going to be Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is going to be fine. I know a lot of people were saying the other day that, man, I wish Julian Sayin was still at Bama. I do too. I wish he was. But I think when the stats shake out for him and Ty Simpson, I think he'll have comparable numbers to Julian Sayin when it's all said and done. Now, long term, I think Julian Sayin will have better, college numbers, obviously. Excuse me. Some standouts. Latsir Brooks looks really good. He created massive separation on 7-on-7 and had a TD streaking across the end of the end zone. He also broke free and had a long sprint, but evidently Ty Simpson couldn't hit him. Dijon Lee, wow, looking amazing. He ran primarily with the first team groups due to injuries, obviously. So he ran, but he did really well. He tracked Jeremy Bernard all the way to the end zone and stopped would-be touchdown by Ty Simpson. Looked amazing. Like I said, he's got the speed, he's got the size. Looking great. Ivan Taylor, defensive back. He's son of 2-time Super Bowl champion Ivan Taylor from Pittsburgh. Looked great. He had an INT himself. Left guard seems to be Cam Dewberry from what we're seeing in the 1s and 2s. He seemed to have locked that position down, so that's great. Also, we got a great recruit yesterday, or commitment, shall I say. Kamarian Johnson, 4-star. He's the number 35 edge rusher in the 2026 class. That was a big get. And number 16 in Alabama. So that was very, very good. Overall, had a pretty good A-Day. There was a pretty cool trick play from that Isaiah Horton. He threw a pass. It was kind of a flea flicker play to Bernard. It was really cool. That was really neat to see. Now, we're not seeing the quarterbacks burn it up, but I think overall, it'll be fine with Ty Simpson. I think he'll have pretty good numbers. So I was encouraged. It sucked because it wasn't game on game and it wasn't team on team and red versus white. That's something we've kind of come accustomed to and like, but because of NIL, you can't do that anymore. It's not going to happen. So excited about the quarterback room. Like I said, we definitely think it's Ty Simpson, and until something happens or he gets hurt, he's definitely got the job. He's not setting the world on fire, but that's okay. He will get there and he'll get better as time goes. We've got a great, I mean, it appears we have a pretty darn loaded wide receiver room, better than we had last year. A little disappointed, wanted to see the tight ends, but because of injuries, you only had Lindsey, one tight end on scholarship, was the only one available to go. I think another walk-on played. He had one pass. Nothing big. Let's get to the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Tennessee's quarterback Lamia Leyva decided to part ways. Apparently, he was jockeying for more money for his NIL deal. He was already making $2 million plus. He was having issues. Some practices he was not showing up for. He was also not liking what some of the, I guess, sponsors wanted him to do. He didn't care for it. Tough shit. You're making $2 million a year. Grow up. You know, he wasn't showing up for some practices or team meetings. Apparently, NIL, somebody thinks he's worth $4 million. From what I saw, you're not worth $1 million. You're just not. Your stats, and I looked this up, you're completing only 63% of your passes. You had 19 TDs and 5 INTs, 19 touchdowns, but that's not even a touchdown a game when you factor in the playoffs. It's not. I mean, Jalen Milroe had better stats than you last year, if that tells you anything. Now, do I think you're a $1 million quarterback in college? Maybe, but you're not worth $2 million, and you sure as hell aren't worth $4 million. And good props on Tennessee. I'm not a Tennessee fan, but props on them from telling you to pound rocks, hit the road. Now, if somebody pays you that money, okay, maybe USC will pay you that money, but you won't be great at USC, and you'll probably have comparable stats or less, and that's a fact. Tennessee's a running team. They were one of the top rushing teams in the country last year. They averaged 225 yards a game. Dylan Sampson had 22 touchdowns, and he had total yards. He had 1491. They're a running team. They had a great offensive line and probably a top 5 to a top 8 defensive line in the country. That's what saved your ass. I mean, there was 5 different plays against Bama. You had wide receivers wide open with separation. You never hit. You couldn't hit. You're not a deep throwing quarterback, or you're not accurate. So, with that being said, good luck, bud. I think Tennessee will have just as good a stats at quarterback without him. Yes, you want him because he's your starting quarterback. He knows the system. Yes, you want that guy. But you're not setting the world on fire, bud. Tennessee will be just fine without you. And it'll be proven when this year's over with. And you're not the savior. I mean, there's quarterbacks in the pros better than you not making even $3 million a year. That's a fact. So, I mean, at some point, this mess needs to end. These kids are not worth some of the money we're having to pay out. Like I said, I don't understand. And the fact that you don't want to show up and do some of these gigs for the NIL, is crazy. I mean, right now, there's a law about to be put in place, hopefully, that'll cut some of this money out a little bit, not all of it, but a little bit of the money, because it's supposed to be name, image, and likeness only, not, oh, well, the school's going to give you $3 million to come play quarterback. So I think it was well beyond time that some schools stand up and say, we're not paying you. I would be upset if Alabama got him and paid him even $3 million. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, he's not worth it. He's not even averaging a TD a game. Why are we paying this guy this kind of money? Like, no, I would not do that. And like I said, it's about time that some of these schools stand up. And I mean, some of these kids are making insane money. Now, if somebody's willing to pay you that, okay. Carson Beck, I like Carson Beck. The amount of money he's getting from Miami, I think it was like $8 or $9 million for 1 year, is insane. I can promise you right now, he will not lead Miami to a national championship. I can promise you that. If he's lucky, he will get to the first round of the playoffs. If he is lucky. He is an INT machine. So, hey, good on him. If you can make the money, make the money. I think I wouldn't pay $9 million for him. Maybe $4 million for a year. But that's insane. And what if this happens? What if he goes into the portal like he says he is, and he is going to, and nobody's willing to pay him a guaranteed $4 million a year? That could happen. That very well could happen. I mean, if I'm a pretty good team, even some of these playoff teams, I'm not going to pay you that. If I got a comparable quarterback or a little less, maybe talented, I'll take that less talented quarterback because I can take that money and go get 3 or 4 more other guys, maybe a defensive lineman, another defensive back, and a wide receiver for that price. I'm not going to do that. Guarantee Ohio State don't pay them that kind of money. And I'll be shocked if USC pays them that kind of money. I would be like, man, if I'm paying you $4 million a year guaranteed, you're going to be throwing at least 2 touchdowns average a game. You will be giving me 14 points, period, per game. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how this unfolds, and we'll be watching the situation and we'll see how it folds out. But yeah, I think Tennessee was absolutely right in what they did. Anyway, Tide Talk Web is out. We'll have another video later in the week.